Hey there, my friends. Today, I want to chat with you about something super important: 9 places or situations we seniors should steer clear of as we enjoy our golden years. Trust me, I've learned a thing or two over the years, and I'm excited to share these nuggets of wisdom with you. Before we dive in, I'd be so grateful if you'd give this video a thumbs up. It helps me spread these vital lessons to more folks just like us. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button and tap the bell so you never miss a tip. Oh, and if you enjoy what you hear, drop a 1 in the comments. If it's not your cup of tea, leave a 0, so I can tweak things for you next time. Now, let's get rolling, and stick around to the end, because number 6 is a big one you won't want to miss. First up, let's talk about those risky, low-security spots we should avoid. You know, places like dimly lit backstreets or sidewalks that look like they've seen better days. As we get older, our bodies aren't as sturdy as they used to be. I remember when I was 70, living in a little town outside Chicago, I'd stroll around without a care. But now, at 78, I've noticed my balance isn't what it once was. A stumble that might have been a laugh back then could mean a sprained ankle, or worse, today. Take my friend Margaret, for example. She's 82, lives in a quiet suburb in Ohio, and loved her evening walks. One night she decided to cut through an alley near her house, poorly lit, cracked pavement everywhere. She didn't see a pothole, tripped, and ended up with a fractured wrist. What was supposed to be a quick jaunt turned into weeks of recovery and a hefty doctor's bill. It broke my heart to see her go through that, and it really hit home how careful we need to be about where we wander. These places, whether it's a shady street or a park with broken paths, can sneak up on you. Uneven ground, no lights, and sometimes no railings to grab onto? That's a recipe for trouble. And if you use a cane or walker, like my cousin Ed in Florida does, it's even trickier. He told me once how he got stuck trying to navigate a bumpy sidewalk near his local market, nearly tipped over. It's not just the physical risk either. Constantly worrying about falling can wear you down mentally, chipping away at that confidence we've worked so hard to keep. So, what's the fix? Stick to spots that feel safe and welcoming. Think well-lit streets, smooth paths, maybe a nice community center with benches. I love heading to the little park near my place in Texas. It's got paved trails and plenty of light, even at dusk. It's about choosing spots that lift us up, not drag us down. We deserve to feel secure every step of the way, not stressed about what's underfoot. Nostalgia might tug us back to old haunts, but our health's got to come first. Thanks for sticking with me. Now, let's chat about those crowded, noisy places that can really throw us off as we get older. You know what I mean: busy shopping malls on a Saturday, packed restaurants where you can barely hear yourself think, or even a bustling farmer's market. Staying connected with folks is so important, don't get me wrong, but some spots can feel like too much, especially when our senses aren't as sharp as they used to be. I'll never forget my pal Susan from Arizona. She's 76, loves being around people, and used to adore hitting the big mall near Phoenix during the holiday rush. Last year, though, she went with her grandkids, and it was a whole different story. The noise, kids yelling, music blaring, carts clanging, hit her like a wall. She's got a bit of hearing trouble these days, and she told me she couldn't make out a word her granddaughter was saying. By the time they left, she was exhausted, frazzled, and honestly felt left out, even surrounded by family. It broke her heart a little, feeling like she couldn't keep up. That's the thing, places like that can overwhelm us faster than we expect. If your hearing's fading, like mine's starting to, all that background racket makes it tough to follow a chat. Or if your balance isn't rock solid anymore, dodging a crowd feels like running an obstacle course. For some folks, especially if memory's getting foggy, it's downright confusing. You're trying to enjoy yourself, but instead, you're stressed, maybe even feeling invisible in all the chaos. It's not just physical either, it messes with your spirit. I've been to a loud diner here in Texas where I couldn't hear my buddy across the table. I left feeling more alone than when I walked in, and that's not what we're after, right? We want connection, not a headache. So, what's the trick? Swap those wild spots for something calmer. A quiet cafe with soft chatter, a shady bench in a peaceful park, or even a small get-together at home with a few close pals. I've started meeting my neighbor Clara at this little coffee shop down the road. Cozy vibe, no shouting required, and we can really talk. It's night and day compared to the madness of a packed joint. This isn't about hiding away, it's about picking places where we can shine. Where we can hear, be heard, and feel like we're part of things without the overload. Susan's switched to quieter outings now, like picnics with her family, and she says it's brought the joy back. We deserve that, don't we? Moments where we're present, not lost in the noise. So next time you're tempted by the hustle and bustle, maybe give a quieter spot a try instead. Your heart, and your ears, will thank you. Alright, here we go with number 3. Let's talk about traveling to those far-off, unfamiliar places that might sound thrilling but can turn risky for us seniors. I get it. There's something exciting about exploring new horizons, soaking in different cultures, maybe checking off a bucket list spot. But as we get older, we've got to think a bit harder about where we're headed and what could go wrong. Take my old neighbor Tom, for instance. He's 80 now, lives up in Michigan, and always had a wild streak for adventure. A couple of years back, he decided to book a trip to a remote village in South America. Gorgeous jungles, off-the-grid vibes, the works. Sounded amazing, right? But halfway through, he caught a stomach bug. Nothing serious for a young traveler, but for Tom, it was a nightmare. The nearest clinic was hours away, bumpy roads all the way, and he didn't speak the language. He ended up dehydrated, stuck in a tiny guest house, and told me later he'd never felt so helpless. What started as a dream trip turned into a wake-up call. That's the thing with these distant, tricky destinations. They might dazzle us with their charm, but if there's no decent hospital nearby or the weather's unpredictable, it's a gamble. I'm not saying we can't travel. Heck, I still love a good road trip. But we've got to pick spots that won't leave us stranded. Places with shaky infrastructure, extreme heat, or no emergency services? That's a lot to handle when your body's not as tough as it used to be. Even something simple like a twisted ankle can spiral if help's too far off. So, what's the smart move? Go for places you know a bit about, where you've got backup. I've been sticking to trips within a few hours of home lately. Last month, I hit a cute coastal town in Oregon. Great views, friendly folks, and a doctor's office right downtown if I needed it. Before you jet off anywhere, dig into the details. Check the weather. Will it zap your energy? Look up the local healthcare. Are there clinics you can trust? My buddy Tom wishes he'd asked those questions first. And here's a tip. Stick to spots with some hustle and bustle, not too wild, but not deserted either. You want people around who can lend a hand if something pops up. I steer clear of rugged hikes or isolated trails these days. My knees aren't up for it, and I'd rather not be miles from a phone signal if I need help. Instead, I'll stroll a scenic boardwalk or visit a historic town. It's still an adventure, just one that keeps me safe and smiling. Travel's about making memories, not headaches. Pick destinations that let you relax and enjoy, not worry about what's around the corner. Tom's back to planning now, but he's keeping it closer to home, and I bet his next trip will be a breeze. We've earned the right to see the world on our terms, so let's do it wisely. Here we are at number 4, folks. Let's talk about something we all want to keep up, staying active. But how easy it is to stumble into exercise that's just not right for us anymore. As seniors, moving our bodies keeps us feeling alive, but picking the wrong workout can land us in hot water faster than you'd think. We're not 30 anymore, and that's okay. Our routines need to match where we're at now. I've got a story for you about my friend Larry, who's 77 and lives out in Colorado. Larry's always been a go-getter, used to run marathons back in the day. A few years ago, he saw some younger guys at the gym lifting heavy weights and thought, I can still do that. So, he jumped into a tough strength class, no warm-up, no easing in. Next day, he could barely get out of bed, pulled a muscle in his back and spent weeks hobbling around. He told me he felt silly pushing himself like that, but it was a real lesson. What worked at 40 didn't fly at 70-something. That's the trap. overdoing it, or picking stuff that's too intense. Our joints aren't as springy, our muscles take longer to bounce back, and pushing too hard can mean injuries that stick around. I've felt it myself. Tried a fast-paced dance class once here in Texas, thinking it'd be fun. Halfway through, my knees were screaming, and I sat out the rest, feeling more frustrated than fit. It's not about giving up, it's about finding what fits us now. So, what's the sweet spot? Gentle, low-impact stuff that keeps us strong without breaking us down. Think walking. My morning strolls around the block here are gold for my heart and mood. Or swimming. I know a gal named Ruth in Nevada, 81, who swears by her pool time. She had arthritis kicking her hard, but those laps eased her joints and got her smiling again. No strain, just steady goodness. Yoga's another winner, slow stretches that build you up without rushing. I started a senior class last year, and it's like a gift to my creaky back. Here's the key, pick things made for us. Look for classes labeled senior friendly or gentle fitness. They're paced right, with folks who get it. Ruth found her swim group through the local rec center, and it's been her lifeline. And always, check with your doc first. Mine gave me the green light for walking and yoga, but nixed anything jarring. It's not about limits, it's about respecting what our bodies need. Larry's back at it now, but he's traded weights for brisk hikes on flat trails. He says he feels stronger than ever, and I believe him. We don't have to prove anything, just keep moving in ways that feel good. So, ditch the high-impact hustle and embrace what lifts you up gently. You'll thank yourself when you're still kicking it without the aches. Alright, we're at number 5 now. Let's talk family gatherings. Oh, don't we all love those warm moments with kids, grandkids, maybe a big holiday spread? They're the heart of so many memories. But here's the thing. As we get older, those get-togethers can turn tricky if we don't set some limits. What used to be a blast can leave us worn out, or even a little blue if we're not careful. I've got a friend, Helen, who's 79 and lives down in Georgia. She's got a big, loud family, 3 kids, 8 grandkids, the whole crew. Last Thanksgiving, she hosted like she always did, determined to keep the tradition alive. But by the end of the night, after hours of cooking, chatting, and wrangling the little ones, she was wiped out. She didn't say a word, just smiled through it, but later she told me her back ached for days, and she felt guilty for not keeping up like she used to. The family didn't notice, she didn't want them to, but it hit her hard. That's what happens sometimes. We want to be there, fully in it, but our energy's not endless anymore. Long hours on our feet, noisy debates about old family stuff, or even just sitting too long in a stiff chair, it adds up. And emotionally? Phew, it can stir things up. Maybe there's an argument nobody's let go of, or folks expect you to be the same spry host you were 20 years back. You're grinning, but inside, you're drained, maybe feeling like you've let them down. Here's the fix, though. It's all about boundaries, and that's not a bad word. It's okay to say, I'll come for a couple hours, then I need to rest. Or, let's keep it low-key this time. I started doing that with my clan here in Texas. Last Christmas, I told my daughter, I'd love to see everyone, but I'll head home by 8. She got it, brought me a comfy chair, and it was the best visit in years. No exhaustion, just joy. Helen's trying it too. Next time, she's asking her kids to pitch in more so she's not running the show solo. It's not about pulling away. It's about keeping these moments special without overdoing it. Tell your family what you need. Maybe a shorter visit, a break when the noise ramps up, or skipping the drama altogether. They might not see how tired you get, so speak up. When they get it, it's magic. Everyone's still laughing together, but you're not paying for it later with aches or a heavy heart. Helen's family rallied once she opened up. They even moved the next gathering to her patio so she could relax. We deserve that kind of care, don't we? Family time should lift us up, not wear us down. Set those gentle limits, and you'll keep the love flowing without the strain. It's a small tweak that makes a big difference. Here we are at number 6, and I'm so glad you've stuck around. This one's a biggie. Let's talk about isolation and loneliness, something that can creep up on us seniors without much warning. It's not loud or flashy, it's quiet, sneaky, and can hit harder than we realize. We might start off thinking, "Oh, I'm fine on my own," but over time, it's like a shadow that dims everything. I saw this up close with my old pal George, who's 83 and lives out in Idaho. After his wife passed a few years back, he pulled away. He'd always been the life of the party, card games, fishing trips, you name it. But slowly, he stopped showing up. I'd call and he'd say, "I'm good, just resting." Then one day, I dropped by unannounced. He looked worn out, not just tired but empty. He admitted he hadn't talked to anyone in days, and it was weighing on him. His spark was fading, and it shook me to see how fast loneliness had taken hold. That's the danger. It's not just about being alone physically. It's feeling cut off, like the world's moving on without you. Studies say it's tough on more than your mood. It can mess with your mind, dull your thinking, even weaken your immune system. George started forgetting little things, catching colds more often, and he told me some days he didn't see the point in getting up. It's a silent thief, stealing your health bit by bit. What makes it so tricky is how it hides. You might be around people and still feel unseen, maybe at a coffee shop, watching everyone chat while you're on the outside. Or maybe you've stopped reaching out because it feels too hard. I've had days like that here in Texas, staring at the phone, thinking, who'd want to hear from me? But here's the truth, we need connection like we need air. Without it, that heaviness settles in, and it's tough to shake. So, how do we dodge this one? Small steps, my friends. Pick up the phone, call a kid, a neighbor, anyone. I started texting my niece every week, just a, "How's your day?" And it's lifted me more than I expected. Or join something, a book club, a gardening group. George found a senior center near him with a weekly bingo night. First time he went, he grumbled about it, but now? He's got buddies there, and his laugh's back. Volunteering's another gem. Helping out at the local food bank gave me purpose I didn't know I'd lost. It's not about big leaps, it's those little ties that pull you back in. Loneliness can feel like quicksand, but every chat, every smile, is a rope out. George says he wishes he'd started sooner, and I get it, we don't always see it coming. So let's not wait. Reach out today, even if it's just a wave to the mailman. We're not meant to go it alone, and there's always someone glad you're here. Alright, we're rounding out with numbers 7 and 8, then I'll wrap it up for us. First, let's chat about those shaky financial situations that can sneak up on us. Money worries are stressful at any age, but as seniors, they can feel like a storm cloud over our peace of mind. I knew a lady, Dorothy, 81, from New Mexico. She met with a financial advisor who tossed around fancy terms and vague promises. She trusted him, signed up for some sure thing investment, and lost half her savings to a scam. Broke her heart and her bank account. She told me she felt so foolish, but those crooks know how to prey on us. It's a jungle out there, scams with fake calls, tricky emails, all targeting folks who might not catch the red flags. The fix? Stick with pros you trust, ones who explain things plain and simple. Ask questions, tons of them, until it clicks. I've got a guy here in Texas who walks me through every step, no rush, no pressure. If something feels off, walk away. Dorothy's back on track now with a solid advisor, but she wishes she trusted her guts sooner. Our savings are our lifeline. Let's guard them like gold. Now, number 8, unhealthy habits. Life gets heavy sometimes, and it's tempting to lean on stuff like smoking or a stiff drink to cope. My buddy Frank, 79, up in Wisconsin, went through a rough patch after losing his job years back. Started smoking again, thinking it'd calm him down. But those cigarettes trashed his lungs, COPD hit him hard, and now he's on oxygen half the time. He told me it was a quick fix that turned into a slow disaster. Same goes for too much booze or pills. It might numb the pain for a minute, but it digs a deeper hole. The way out? Swap those crutches for something better. Frank's quit smoking now, tough road, but he's into painting, says it steadies his nerves. I've found walking beats stress for me, no side effects, just fresh air. Counseling helps too. Talking it out with someone who gets it can lighten the load. We've got the power to choose healthier paths, even if it's one small step at a time. Our bodies deserve that kindness. So, there you have it, 9 spots to sidestep for a happier, safer you. I hope you'll take these bits and weave them into your days. Maybe dodge that risky street, call a friend, or set a family boundary, whatever feels right. Drop a comment below with what you think or any tricks you've learned along the way. I'd love to hear from you. If this hit home, give it a like, and hit subscribe for more tips to keep us thriving. Thanks for hanging out with me today, you're the best, and I'll see you in the next one.